In the quiet village of Anaya, where the sun kissed the horizon with golden hues and the scent of blooming jasmine filled the air, a young girl named Alia lived a life woven with hardship and unyielding hope. Her home, a humble thatch-roof hut on the outskirts of the village, echoed with the laughter of children at play and the distant chatter of merchants selling their wares in the bustling market. Yet, within the walls of her home, the air was heavy with tension and resentment. Alia, with her sun-kissed skin and hair that glimmered like chestnuts in the afternoon light, was the daughter of a poor farmer. After the untimely death of her mother, her father had remarried, bringing home a woman named Naima, whose beauty and charm masked a heart full of jealousy and cruelty. Naima had brought with her a daughter, Layla, who was the very embodiment of privilege and indulgence. While Layla lived a life of ease and comfort, Alia was relegated to a life of servitude, forced to rise with the sun, her hands calloused from toil, and her spirit burdened by the weight of her circumstances. Each morning began before dawn, with Alia trudging to the river, a heavy clay pot balanced on her head. The journey was arduous. The path wound through thorny bushes and jagged rocks, and the cool morning air often turned frigid. Yet Alia's heart remained resolute. She would fill the pot, feeling the refreshing water trickle down her fingers, a brief respite from the harshness of her life. The villagers often spoke of her gentle spirit, noting how she never complained despite the overwhelming burden she carried. Returning home, Alia would begin her endless chores. She tended to the livestock, swept the yard, and prepared meals for her stepmother and stepsister. While Layla enjoyed the finest clothes and sumptuous meals, Alia wore the tattered remnants of her mother's dresses, hand-me-downs that had long lost their charm. Naima, her stepmother, found joy in belittling Alia at every opportunity, often mocking her for her appearance and the meager meals she prepared. "Why can't you be more like Layla?" Naima would sneer, her voice dripping with disdain. "She brings beauty and grace to our home, while you dash." Alia learned to keep her head down, her heart heavy with a sense of inadequacy. But within her, a flicker of defiance burned brightly. She held on to dreams of a better life, one filled with kindness and love. Each night, as she lay on her straw mat, she would close her eyes and imagine a world where her hard work would bear fruit, where she would not be defined by her lineage but by her heart. One fateful afternoon, a stranger arrived in Anaya. He was an elderly man with deep-set eyes that sparkled with wisdom and mischief. Dressed in worn clothes and carrying a staff carved from the finest oak, he wandered through the village, stopping to speak with the townsfolk. Alia, busy gathering firewood, observed the man from afar. There was something enigmatic about him that piqued her curiosity. Later that day, as Alia was fetching water from the river, she noticed the old man sitting under a tree, his presence radiating warmth and tranquility. Gathering her courage, she approached him. "Good afternoon, sir. Are you in need of assistance?" The old man looked up, his eyes twinkling. "A kind heart such as yours is rare to find, young one, but I am merely resting." Alia, drawn to his gentle demeanor, decided to sit beside him. "I often dream of a better life," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I wish I could escape this existence." "Ah," the man replied, nodding knowingly. "Do not lose hope. Sometimes, when you least expect it, the stars will align and your dreams will unfold before you." Alia smiled at his words, though they felt distant and unattainable. They talked for a while, sharing stories of hardship and resilience. When it was time for her to leave, she felt a sense of warmth and comfort that lingered long after their conversation had ended. Months passed, and the village buzzed with excitement over the royal ball announced by the king. His son, Prince Rami, was searching for a bride, and every eligible maiden in Anaya was preparing for the grand event. Alia watched from the sidelines as Layla and Naima spent their days shopping for extravagant dresses and jewels, dreaming of capturing the prince's heart. "Alia, make sure the house is clean before the ball," Naima ordered one morning, her tone dismissive. "You wouldn't want the prince to know how we live, would you?" "Yes, Naima," Alia replied quietly, suppressing the anger that bubbled within her. She knew her stepmother would never allow her to attend, deeming her unworthy of such an event. As the day of the ball approached, the village was adorned with colorful decorations, and the anticipation in the air was palpable. Alia continued her chores, her heart heavy with longing as she watched other girls practice their dances and admire their reflections in mirrors. The night before the ball, she lay awake, her thoughts swirling with dreams of attending, if only for a moment. On the night of the ball, as the stars twinkled in the velvety sky, Alia watched from the window as Layla and Naima departed in a lavish carriage, adorned in gowns fit for royalty. The world outside sparkled with laughter and music, a stark contrast to the emptiness of her home. Despair washed over her, and she turned away from the window, retreating into the shadows of her room. But just then, she heard a soft knock at the door. Startled, Alia opened it to find the elderly man standing there, his eyes glowing with a knowing light. "Young one, the time has come," he said, his voice rich with promise. "You must not let this opportunity pass you by." "But I cannot go," Alia replied, her heart pounding. "Naima would never allow it, and I have no proper dress or shoes." The old man smiled, reaching into his tattered bag and pulling out a simple yet exquisite gown. "This is for you, a gift for your kindness. And here," he said, producing a pair of delicate shoes that sparkled in the dim light, "these will carry you to your destiny." Alia's breath caught in her throat as she held the gown, her heart swelling with disbelief. "But how can I accept this?" "Just put it on," he urged gently. "Your dreams are waiting." Trembling with excitement and trepidation, Alia changed into the gown, the fabric flowing around her like a gentle embrace. She slipped on the shoes, feeling a surge of confidence coursing through her veins. When she stepped out of her humble home, it felt as if she were stepping into a new life. As she approached the palace, the grandeur of the building took her breath away. The air was filled with music, laughter, and the tantalizing aroma of food. Alia felt out of place among the elegantly dressed guests, her heart racing with uncertainty. Yet, the moment she stepped into the grand hall, something shifted within her. Prince Rami, tall and handsome, stood at the center of the room, his laughter resonating like music. He noticed Alia almost immediately, captivated by her natural beauty and grace. She stood silently in a corner, a picture of quiet elegance, her heart pounding in her chest as their eyes met. "Who is this enchanting maiden?" the prince inquired, making his way towards her, his voice warm and inviting. "I am Alia," she stammered, her cheeks flushed with a mixture of nerves and excitement. "Alia," he repeated, testing the name on his tongue. "What brings you here this evening?" "I wanted to see the beauty of the ball," she replied softly, her heart racing as he stepped closer. "You are as beautiful as the stars that light the night sky," he declared, taking her hand. "May I have the honor of your company?" Alia could hardly believe what was happening. She nodded, and they began to dance, moving gracefully across the floor. For the first time, she felt free, the burdens of her life momentarily forgotten as she twirled with the prince, lost in the music and magic of the moment. As the night wore on, Alia shared her story with Rami, her struggles, her dreams, and her unwavering hope for a better life. He listened intently, his eyes reflecting admiration for her strength and resilience. "You have endured so much yet maintained your kindness. You are truly remarkable, Alia," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. Meanwhile, Layla and Naima, oblivious to Alia's presence, continued to vie for the prince's attention, adorned in their finest jewels. Naima's laughter echoed through the hall as she boasted of her daughter's qualities, while Layla played the role of the perfect daughter. But as the evening progressed, it became increasingly clear to everyone that Prince Rami was captivated by Alia's spirit. He announced to the gathered guests that he had found his future bride, eliciting gasps of shock and disbelief. The room fell silent as he took Alia's hand and led her to the front of the hall. "This is the woman I have chosen," he declared proudly. "She embodies all the qualities I seek in a queen." Layla's face paled as she stood frozen in disbelief. Naima's expression shifted from pride to fury, her eyes narrowing as she confronted Alia. "You, a commoner? How dare you steal this moment from my daughter?" Alia felt a rush of emotion, her heart pounding as she faced the disdainful glare of her stepmother. "I never meant to dash." "Silence!" Naima spat, her voice laced with venom. "You do not belong here. You are nothing but a servant." With a sudden surge of courage, Alia looked at the prince and then back at Naima. "But I am not defined by my circumstances. I have worked hard and dreamed of a life filled with love and kindness." The old man's words echoed in her mind, filling her with strength. She turned to Rami, her voice steady. "I refuse to allow anyone to belittle my worth. I am proud of who I am." The room buzzed with murmurs, and Prince Rami's gaze softened as he looked at Alia. "You are right, Alia. Your worth is not determined by your status, but by the goodness within you." The tension in the room simmered, and Naima's expression hardened. "You will regret this," she hissed, storming away with Layla in tow, leaving Alia standing at the center of the hall, surrounded by whispers of admiration and disbelief. As the night drew to a close, Alia felt a sense of liberation wash over her. She had confronted her fears and stood her ground. The prince took her hand once more, guiding her out into the cool night air, away from the pomp and circumstance of the palace. "I am proud of you," he said, his eyes sparkling with admiration. "You have a brave heart, Alia. Would you allow me the honor of getting to know you better?" Over the following weeks, Alia and Prince Rami forged a deep connection, their friendship blossoming into love. He was captivated by her kindness and resilience, and she found in him a partner who valued her for who she truly was. Alia's life transformed in ways she had never dreamed possible, and she began to believe that her past did not define her future. However, the peace was not to last. Naima, embittered by her loss and filled with jealousy, concocted a devious plan to sabotage Alia's newfound happiness. She spread rumors throughout the village, painting Alia as a deceitful commoner who had enchanted the prince with false promises. Alia, unaware of the storm brewing around her, continued to thrive within the palace. She spent her days learning the intricacies of royal life, while remaining steadfast in her belief that kindness could overcome hatred. But as the rumors escalated, the villagers began to view her with suspicion, their admiration for the prince's choice overshadowed by Naima's lies. One fateful day, as Alia ventured into the village to gather supplies, she was met with scornful glances and hushed whispers. "She's just a servant," one woman spat. "What does she know of royalty?" Alia's heart sank as she overheard the cruel words, and she realized that the darkness of Na'ima's influence had begun to seep into the hearts of the people. Feeling vulnerable and exposed, she hurried back to the palace, her spirit dampened by the weight of judgment. That evening, as she shared her fears with Rami, he listened intently, his brow furrowing with concern. "We will confront this together," he vowed, determination in his eyes. "You are not alone, Alia. I will stand by you." With Rami's support, Alia decided to confront the village, determined to clear her name and reveal the truth. She invited the villagers to the palace, hoping to show them the heart behind the woman they had wrongfully judged. On the day of the gathering, the grand hall was filled with anxious energy. Alia stood at the front, her heart racing as she faced the crowd, their eyes filled with skepticism. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her stomach. "I know there have been rumors about me, but I stand before you today to speak my truth." The villagers exchanged doubtful glances, and Alia took a deep breath, determined to win them over. "I am not a thief or a deceiver. I am a girl who has faced hardship, yet remained steadfast in my hope for a better life. I have worked hard, not for riches or power, but for the love and kindness I believe we all deserve." Rami stood beside her, his presence a pillar of strength. Alia has shown nothing but kindness and grace. She embodies the values we should cherish as a community. Do not let the words of a bitter heart cloud your judgment. As Alia spoke, she noticed a few familiar faces soften, their expressions shifting from skepticism to understanding. She continued, pouring her heart into her words, determined to break through the wall of distrust that Na'ima had built. "I came here to show you that no matter our past, we can rise above our circumstances. I have learned that true worth comes from within, not from the titles we hold or the wealth we possess." Slowly, the villagers began to murmur among themselves, and Alia could see the tide turning. Her sincerity resonated with them, and the fear that had gripped their hearts began to fade. As the gathering came to a close, Alia felt a surge of hope fill the room. The old man's words echoed in her mind once more. The stars will align. In the following weeks, the village began to heal. Alia's courage and Rami's unwavering support fostered a sense of unity among the people. They came to appreciate Alia not just as a commoner, but as a beacon of strength and resilience. Someone who dared to dream and, against all odds, had achieved her happiness. The final confrontation with Na'ima came swiftly. Angered by her diminishing influence and the loss of her daughter's prospects, she stormed into the palace, her fury palpable. "You think you can take everything from me?" she shouted, her voice echoing through the halls. Alia stood her ground, her heart steady. "I have not taken anything from you, Na'ima. I have only claimed my right to happiness. Your happiness is a lie." Na'ima spat, her voice filled with venom. "You are nothing but a servant playing dress-up. You will never belong here." Rami stepped forward, his voice firm. "Alia is the woman I have chosen to stand by my side, and you will no longer manipulate our lives with your bitterness." In that moment, the truth washed over the room like a cleansing wave. Na'ima's facade shattered, revealing the insecurity and jealousy that had driven her actions. The villagers, once afraid, now watched with a mix of disbelief and sympathy as the stepmother realized her grip on power had finally slipped away. "Get out!" Na'ima shrieked, her voice breaking. "I will ruin you both." But Alia remained resolute, her heart filled with compassion rather than hatred. "You do not have to be alone, Na'ima. There is still room for kindness, even in your heart. Change begins with you." The confrontation marked a turning point, and with the villagers' support, Na'ima's influence waned. She eventually left the village, her anger impotent against the newfound unity that Alia and Rami had fostered. As the seasons changed, Alia and Rami flourished together. They became beloved figures in Anaya, using their platform to uplift others and inspire dreams. Alia's spirit radiated hope, and she dedicated herself to helping those in need, ensuring that no one would feel the burden of judgment as she had. The village, once divided by envy and despair, transformed into a community filled with kindness and support. Alia's journey became a testament to the power of resilience and the strength of the human spirit, reminding all who heard her story that love and kindness could conquer even the darkest of adversities. Years later, as Alia stood at the edge of the river, now a shimmering mirror reflecting the golden sun, she smiled at the journey she had taken. The hardships had shaped her, but they had not defined her. The dreams she had once held close to her heart had blossomed into a life filled with love, laughter, and purpose. With Rami by her side, she turned her gaze to the horizon, knowing that their journey was just beginning. Together, they would continue to light the way for others, guiding lost souls toward the beauty of hope, love, and kindness, proving that even in a world filled with shadows, the light would always